All right. Welcome to Let's Talk with Patrick podcast, one of the realest podcasts in the world, the land, the galaxy, and the whole entire universe. That's right. So I have an incredible guest, very special to me. This woman is amazing. She's from out of Houston, Texas. Um, she just do so many great things. Should I call you a philanthropist or what? Is that a good name for you?
I, you know what? I would if you would like to call me a philanthropist, I would say that I try to be a blessing.
Okay, good, fair enough. So this is my cousin Deidre Young, aka cousin DD. How are you doing today on this Friday?
Oh, Patrick, I'm doing great. Hey, cuz
Hey, cuz you
I
look
am.
great.
Oh, well, thank you, and so do you. I love your new look. Nice cut, nice cut.
Yes, yes, Lord.
But I see you doing your thing. I see you doing your thing.
I
You
appreciate
looking
that.
good.
Thank you. Yeah. So,
Yeah, it's been a busy week.
yeah, I can tell you've been really busy and you holding it all together. I give you mad props.
I'm doing my best. I am doing my best.
So take us.
Almost done.
Okay, that's awesome. So before we get into that, where? Okay, so where are you from originally?
Okay, originally I was born in Albany, Georgia. I'm the daughter of Eleanor Young. Um, our my family is originally from Athens, Georgia. But when I was about one, we moved, me, my sister, my mother, and my first stepfather, we moved to Houston, Texas. So probably in 1975, 74, 75. I've been in Houston ever since.
So you're a Houstonian, right? That's what they call you guys. Well, girls.
Well, I don't like to claim that I'm a Houstonian, but since I've lived here all my life, I represent Houston. The Texans, the Rockets, the Astros. I'm really big into the games, but a lot of volunteering for those teams actually. But yeah, but I'm a sweet Georgia peach is what I like to tell everybody. Where you from? Oh, I'm a Georgia peach, baby. Get that from my mama.
Rest in peace to Eleanor. So you grew up, you had a sister.
Rest
Well, you
in
have a
peace, mama.
sister, Monique. So how was the upbringing like for you two
Hmm.
growing up?
I will say that it was good, and it had its ups and downs. I'll put it like that. We had a rough beginning, and once my mom got established and um found someone that was good for her in her life, and he became a good stepfather to me and my sister, which was my second stepfather. Um, his name was Larry Wilson, and uh we had some trials. I won't lie, we had some trials, ups and downs,
Yeah, I mean,
but it was a good life.
yeah, but
I can appreciate it now.
right, right. And see, that's the thing about it. I can like when you go through a lot of trials and tribulation, it do build character, and you always had this strong like energy about yourself, for real, like very strong. Don't take no mess, but cool, down to earth at the same time, and very comical. You know what I mean? But what was your influences growing up?
My mother was one of my biggest influences.
Mhm.
She was a very hard worker. She was dedicated to her girls. She wanted the best for us. Um, that was one of the things that I really admired about my mom. But also, it was, um, I think, from her past experiences that she wanted to make our lives better, right? So my mom didn't talk too much about her past before I was here or things of that nature. So I would say that my mom did everything that she could to make our lives better than the life she had.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's the strength of a mother, right? Because you're a mom, and the strength of a
Yes.
mother is
Yes.
something that cannot be denied at all. You know, I have mad respect. Your mother was one of the sweetest person I've ever met in my life, for real. Like one of the sweetest person that anybody could ever meet. I mean, her and my mother was very similar in many ways. And like you said the other day,
Yes,
they resemble each other a lot. They do, especially when they got older. Before both of them passed away, you could just see the resemblance big time. And I miss them both dearly. And
I
that's why it's incredible that you and I are going strong as we are. You know, we still going forward. Yeah, it hurts, but we still here. We still putting our foot forward and making the best of our life. That's all we can do.
that's really all you can do. I'm more of a spiritual person, and I believe that your parents won't leave you a day or a moment before you're able to go forward in your life. I was blessed to have my mom for 40 years. Anytime before that, I would not have, I cannot say that I would have been able to deal without her in my life. So, um, when she left, when she passed on, it was a shock because it was just out the blue. I had just talked to her 2 days before, and we were discussing things, and I was like, Mom, don't worry about it. Everything's gonna be all right. And then 2 days later, I get a phone call saying, Hey, your mom won't respond. And I was like, what does that mean? She's gone. And I was like, no, she ain't. I just talked to her. And so that was a really hard time for us. But I think that we were ready to still move forward because we did. You know, me, my sister, and my two nephews, my niece, my son. We're doing good. I think she's looking down upon us and smiling and still protecting us like she always did. So, yeah.
So with
And
this,
your mom.
oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say with your mom, she was fantastic. Oh my gosh, she was the best. Even when she came down to Houston to visit, I love spending time with your mom. I mean, that's although she was my cousin, we always called her Aunt Pat because she was so much older than us. But she's like, "Don't you dare call me your cousin. I'm your auntie." Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And so when my mom passed, I was able to come up there and visit more often, at least once a year. Um, and we got to spend some time together, and that was really important to me because she really she strengthened that link that I had with my mom just by being in her presence. So
Absolutely,
yeah,
and she knew a lot too, because I'm sure
she
she told
did.
you things. She told me
She
things
sure
as
did.
well. So yeah, she was definitely like a historian in some ways. If that makes sense.
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. That was one of the things that I did with her. I said, Auntie, every time I come, I want you to give me some history. I need history. I didn't get all the history from my mom. Like I said, I know that I believe her past was more difficult than she ever spoke about. So, um, just knowing that my grandmother passed away, well, my grandfather passed away, and then my grandmother, no, my auntie passed away, and then my uncle passed away, my grandfather and my grandmother. So by the time my mom got married and we moved to Houston, she only had her brother left.
Right.
That was immediate family, you know.
Mm.
So,
So with
yeah.
this,
But I remember even as a child, we would go to Georgia and we'd hang out with Frank. Well, before you and Jay Ivy came along,
no, I was
we
around.
would we
I was
would go
around.
down there and visit.
I was around spiritually. Okay, I was already there.
Yes, yes. We knew you was on the way. We knew you was on the way, cuz.
So with that said, did you do any type of therapy? Because I did therapy when my mom died. I knew I had to do something because I felt like I was about to lose my mind. I was about to go crazy. Seriously.
I completely understand that. Now I mean, when my mom passed away, I can say that I had a wonderful support system that was there for me. Um, One of my very best friends at the time, she was there the day that I got the phone call, and she took me over to my mom's house, and we had to, um, see her and do the final
Mm.
arrangements and all that. But she stayed by my side for over 14 days. She came over to visit and then she never left. I couldn't do anything for myself at that time. But
Wow.
when you speak about therapy, now you know my past. I have been in therapy since I was 11 years old. Um, Most of my adolescent years I spent in and out of mental institutions for depression, bipolar disorder. Like I said in the beginning, we had rough beginnings, and so the abuse that I suffered as a youth, as a child, um, apparently it affected me in a way that I needed therapy once I started reaching puberty. So I went through major depressions. I was self-destructive, suicidal. Um, I gave my mom the blues when I hit my teenage years. I love you, mama. But I can say that I definitely did that. So, therapy has been a blessing to me at first. As a youth, I thought it was a curse. I thought my mom and them just, hey, they didn't know what to do with me, so they, you know, locked me up. But I can say now that it's being an adult that the things that I learned and the coping skills that I was taught when I was in the hospital really helped me later on in life.
Wow. So with that said, do any of those incidents from your childhood, does it affect you today, or you don't really let it bother you too much because it's been so long ago?
Sometimes,
Understandable.
sometimes. Um, I was physically abused, mentally, emotionally abused, sexually abused. So I think that um, with those things, they don't play in my head like they used to. And they're not in the forefront of my mind because today I live in the moment and I try to make each moment the best that I could possibly make it. And I know that my past, well, my own personal feelings is that my past had to happen in order for me to be the person that I am today.
Absolutely.
So,
Wow.
I think I'm pretty good today.
Yeah, you doing phenomenal. Like every time I see you, you always have a smile. You laugh. We joke. You know, you doing good. It's always good to see your face, see you smile for real. Like your smile is very radiant. Seriously. But I was going. Let me see. So
Thank you, guys.
what got you into making music, by the way? Because you've been doing music for a while. So what got you into that? What was your influence when it came to making music?
Music was one of the things that I learned about in when I was in the hospital when I was a kid. We had music therapy, and I was able to get in touch with my feelings and be able to channel my thoughts, feelings, and energy into music. So, 1999 was when I first started my studio, which is Butterflies Media Creations. Um, and I started creating beats. I would just go with whatever I was feeling. I started off with FL Studio. I still work with FL Studio, but being able to um, go through my mood swings, go through my episodes, what I call them today, um, and channel that through my music, that was how it all began for me. Well, on top of that, my mother was my biggest influence. She loved music. I used to watch her sing and dance, and how different songs, brought out something different with her. And, so she was my initial person of interest that got me involved with music. But then I took it on and started creating my music, and that's been my therapy. So, when I tell people when they go to my music page, I'm like, hey, yeah, this is not radio type music. This is my therapy. This is my life through every situation that I've been through that I was able to, you know, produce a track for it. You know, I think one of my, because I'm on Reverb Nation, so one of my most popular songs is Bipolarish,
Mm.
and I literally did the track. You know, I know you know about that, where it take you 10 minutes to do a whole song, not even 10 minutes. You just got it, and then you just start doing stuff and creating it. You got the, you know, the intro, the outro, the hook, the verse. You got, you know, you got everything, and it just comes out. I mean, if you can see my screen now, I actually have a track that I was working on last week. But Bipolarish was a song that I did about myself. You know, it's like, yeah, bipolar, mood swinging. It's just a diagnosis. So what does that be meaning? You know, like, because I had to figure it out at first. I thought that my diagnosis defined who I was. And, you know, I spent a majority of half of my life living like that. That, you know, oh, I'm bipolar, I'm schizoaffective, I have all these things. When I go through this, you know, this is what it was. I have personalities and all this stuff. So, you know, that's just kind of like how I defined who I was when people asked me who I was, you know. But now I'm like, hey, that's just a diagnosis. That's a label that somebody put on me. And so that's where that song came from. And then I have over 20, 30 tracks on my web, you know, my music page, that it's not music for the radio. It's more so my therapy sessions put to music.
Wow, that's amazing. So with the bipolar, what the diagnose, um, do you think it affected you a lot when you was younger? Like, do you think you act out a certain way because of the label without having an understanding of it?
Yes, yes, I do. I think that when I was a kid, I would, you know, my mom was asking me, why are you doing these things to yourself? And I was just like, because I don't want to be here anymore. You know, and that was really concerning. What do you do when your child says they don't want to be here anymore? You know, I know it was hard on my mom. I know it was very hard on her. But that's just where I was. She, you know, she gave me a really good doctor, a, a good hospital to go to that was, you know, like I said, beneficial to me. But I still had the behaviors. I still, I was a cutter. I was a cutter for many, many years. Um, I was hypomanic. I was, you know, I was one of those that go, 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 go. I wouldn't sleep for days. And my mom, them, they didn't even know what I was going through, because when they said go to bed, I'd go to my room. She'd do her night check, you know. Then she'd go to bed. I hear her sleeping in the room, and then I knew that I was going to be up for the rest of the night. I'd go in there and watch TV till about 6 o'clock in the morning. When I hear people getting up, alarm clocks going off, I'd go jump back and lay in my bed. And my mom never knew that I had been up for 2 or 3 days straight. You know, um, it, like I say, it was a challenging childhood. It really was.
Wow. Well, you definitely made a significant improvement over the years. To be honest, you did. Yeah, it's not easy. I mean, you really went through it, and that's why I have a lot of admiration and respect for you. Seriously, you have so much strength, and it definitely keep me inspired. To be honest with you, and I'm not just saying it because we're on the podcast, but I'm being real with you. Seriously, just from stuff that I do know and what I'm hearing right now. Mad respect.
But
Absolutely,
thank you.
absolutely. You're welcome.
Yeah.
All the time. So is that a reason why? I mean, is that because okay? Well, what you went through, is that the big reason why you are a mental health advocate? Like why you like do so much and travel?
Yes. You know, I think that what I went through and what I do now, because I do advocate for the homeless. I do advocate for those with mental wellness issues. I don't like to say, oh, they mentally ill. I say, no, they just have mental wellness issues. But that's because at a point in time in my life, I was homeless, you know, and once I was stable, you know, stable with housing and still battling with my disability. You know, when I was seen by a gentleman named Cowboy, is who we call him here in Houston, but he was a formerly homeless man, and now he's a big advocate for the homeless in Houston. Um, he saw me one day, and he asked me to come and join a call once a month, and I was just like, okay, well, I had, but before he did that, I had had a conversation with God, and I said, God, you know what? If there's anything that I can do, I'm willing to do it. And if somebody asks me, I'll do it. And this was my private conversation that I had, you know, with God. And then Cowboy says, hey, I want you to come join this call. And I was like, okay, I'll do it. Don't know what I'm doing, but I'll do it. And come to find out that was for a consumer advisory board with Healthcare for the Homeless Houston. And they're a part of the National Healthcare for the Homeless Council, which is um, the council that is we're nationwide, and we have consumer advisory boards across the nation. And all we had to do was get on a call once a month, answer some questions, get involved, give them our thoughts and feelings on services for the homeless. And I started that. It must have been almost 10 years now. And I started off as just being one of the consumers on a call to now I am the chair of the National Consumer Advisory Board. So I'm somewhere today where I never thought that I would be, just because this one man saw me and said, hey, I want you to get involved. So, I'm really thankful for Cowboy. And he's been a blessing in my life and a good father figure. He adopted me a few years ago. He's
Oh,
like, yep, you're my daughter now. And I was like, oh,
oh, that's awesome. Wow. So he's still alive. Am I correct?
it is. Yes, he is still
Okay,
alive.
good, good, good. That's really incredible. That's I mean, the work that you do is so incredible. That's why I say I gotta sit and talk to you. I do because it's admirable, and there's a lot of people out there hurting, and and with mental health, besides homelessness, but with mental health, like a lot of us do struggle with that. Like even myself, after going through certain things, how could I not deal with depression myself? Because I be depressed. I don't I may smile and all that, but sometimes I be like real sad sometimes. But that's just how life is, and I'm man enough to admit that. I'm not going to pretend like everything is all good when it's not. So that
Yeah,
go ahead. Sorry.
no, I was gonna say that, my last therapy sessions that I had, which was a couple of years ago, I was my therapist was like, no, you have PTSD, which is, I've been in therapy. I spent from the age of 11 to the age of 17 in and out of mental institutions. It wasn't just about, like how they have it now. You can go in for 2 weeks or something like that. Nah, mine was months. I'd be 6 months here, 6 months there. The last time I was in the hospital was for a whole year and a half, a year and 7 months, excuse me. Um, but I can say that when we're talking about mental wellness and the things that we go through, my therapist diagnosed me with PTSD. And I said, that makes sense because I went through some traumatic experiences growing up and it did affect me, you know. So, yeah, I mean, and it all fits for me because then there are triggers, you know what I'm saying? There are things that I'll see, that I'll feel, that I'll smell, that I'll hear, something that can take me back to a traumatic experience. And then I'm having a moment, is what I call them. I'm having a moment. So, when you asked me earlier, do those things still affect me today? Sometimes, but putting it in perspective that, hey, you just had a trigger. Well, what can you do to move forward or to, get through this? And like I said, I have a wonderful support system. I have my wife. She has been such an amazing, she is an amazing woman, but she's been an amazing support system for me, you know. Um, yeah, I can't say that I've gone through some really major, well, she might say different, but I still go through my
Yeah.
thing. I still go through my thing, but with her by my side, it's not as intense or it's not as an extreme, and she is my support person to bounce me back to where I need to be. So I'm truly grateful
Well, you tell Brenda I
for her.
said hello. She is an incredible person. I must agree. Yes. and
Pat say hello, Brenda. She said, "Hey, Pat."
yeah, so know what I'm saying? Like just hearing that story, it makes me even respect you on a whole different level, to be honest with you. Because we all go through things, and I mean, even like the death of my mother, I mean, that was enough for me. I mean, I went through stuff before that, but to be in a room with her, to see her die on the machine, that did something to me. I ain't sleep for a while. You know what I mean? And I felt like I was losing my mind. So I called my manager and I told her, well, my former manager, I said, hey, I said, do you know any kind of therapist I can talk to? And she Googled and she found a place. And that's what I did. I went to therapy. Then, of course, you had the COVID thing that happened. Let me see. I went like 6 times. So, yeah, the COVID thing happened, and it was like, well, um, we can do a video call. I'm like, no, if I can't be there in person, I don't want to do it at all. So I stopped going. And then that's when I started to get into a real bad depression. I started gaining weight, and I felt suicidal myself just because I was didn't have nothing to do. I had it was idle time, and I was really sad. And I don't know, it was just a bad situation at that time, And then I started to pull myself together. I started to think about what my mother would say. You know what I mean? Like I thought about the good memories that we had, and then I started to change my diet. Well, I noticed my pants felt real tight too, and I sat on the couch and I kind of sank down. I said, "Damn, I got to lose some weight." so, so I,
Is that belly?
I know, right? so then I started to change my diet. I started running outside at the park, but at that time we had a lot of fires going on that time, and it was really hard to breathe. But I still went outside and ran. Then I started to go into the gym at my job and started running on the treadmill. I started to get myself together at that point. Then by the time my father passed, mentally I was on a whole different level. I was much better. You know what I mean? Like I was just more positive at that time. Like I knew with my father, I knew what was coming with him. My mother, that was unexpected, like your mother was. It was very unexpected. I didn't even had no idea at all. You know what I mean? So that's what hurt the most when it's unexpected. But when you can prepare for it, yeah, it hurt, but you give yourself, more time to prepare the inevitable. And then once it happens, like, okay, well, thank God
Yeah.
because that person is relieved. They're not suffering no more. So, but yeah, that's why like I'm really happy to talk to you because like this made me feel even good about myself to be honest with you. For real. Seriously. So
I had you guys in my prayers. I want you to know that I prayed for y'all because I knew y'all were going through it. I know how amazing your mom was, and your dad. So I just like, oh my God, Lord, just give them the strength to just keep doing the next right thing. Just keep doing the next right thing. That's how I got through to where I am today. It was like, D, just do the next right thing. I don't know what the next right thing is, but I do know that I spent half of my life in such a dark place that the only way that I was able to start improving it was just to do the next right thing. So instead of me being in my bed for 2 or 3 days, not eating, just depressed, lights off, not caring, crying, boo-hooing, I was like, well, okay, today we're gonna just get up and do the next right thing. Well, what is that? Get out the bed. Go brush your teeth. Okay, take a bath. Okay, what's the next right thing? Put some clothes on. Go outside and see the
yeah,
sun. See what's going on. I mean, literally, those were the baby steps that I had to take. And those baby steps, like I said, those baby steps, that's routine for me. As soon as I open my eyes, I thank God for another day. And I pray that I can be a blessing to at least one person today. Just one,
absolutely. Well, I'm
you know.
sure. I mean, you
Um,
blessing me right now, to be honest. I'm just saying. That's real.
oh,
Yes.
great.
Yes.
Blessings be unto you, my little cousin.
Absolutely. Little cut. Oh, geez. Okay. Uh, so
I'm about to be 50 in about 2 months. So yes,
no,
little
I'm about to
cousin.
be 86. So
Oh, is that in dog years?
no human years. St. Patrick's Day is my birthday, so it's coming up real soon. So I got two birthdays a year.
And you're gonna be what?
86.
Oh,
Yeah. Yep.
86.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yes, Lord.
I'm gonna let you keep that. I'm gonna let you keep that. Ain't nothing wrong with it.
So so I
Okay.
was gonna ask. Okay, so when you doing your when you traveling across the country, you going to Nashville and different places like that. Do you get to meet some of these people who are struggling with homelessness and mental wellness? And do you hear their story? Like, do they ever tell you
Yes.
certain stories that may, hit you differently than other stories?
I think that every person that shares their personal life experiences of homelessness is it affects me every it affects me in a way where I immediately go to, well, what can I do to help? What can I do to change the circumstance that you're in? You know, um, every other year up until this year we would be in DC. We would always every other year we would travel to Washington DC, meet with Congress, meet with individuals that are in power, um, that can change policies and procedures. One of the big things that we advocate for is storytelling. And even with the website, you can go to and get training on how to talk to your representative, um, and share your stories so that when they go to vote on these laws, that makes a homeless person's life even harder, um, they have stories that they can go to say, hey, we want to make something happen because this is what it's doing to these individuals that are underserved. Um, and that are on the streets. When I went to DC for the first time, I stayed at this five-star hotel for the conference and didn't. It wasn't until 2 days later when I went outside and we were going to go, to the Lincoln Monument, that I didn't know about the huge homeless population right around the corner from the White House. Literally, hundreds of people that, are suffering right there by the White House. But you don't get to see all that on the news,
Of course not.
So this year, actually, yeah, I know, right? Um, because the big push right now is for, decriminalizing homelessness. Why are you putting people in jail or destroying their property or, giving them tickets because they don't have enough money in their pocket to put a roof over their head? Why are you, doing these sweeps? Because it's an eyesore to the people that can afford an apartment or a house, you know. Um, but then realizing that most people in the United States are one paycheck away from being in that same position. I'm trying to make awareness to the fact that, hey, you guys, we can do something different. We can help one another if we just go back to basics, and that's just being kind to one another, supporting each other. Back in the day, they used to always say it takes a village to raise a kid. If it wasn't for the village that surrounded me to support me, I wouldn't be here today. Um, and you said, why do I advocate for, what do I really advocate? I do advocate for those with mental wellness issues because I think we are the one of the most um, misunderstood group of individuals. There was one point in time that I was one of those women or men that you would see walking down the street talking to themselves, having this whole full blown out conversation, you know. Um, and mostly it was because I was thrown off on my medication. Being homeless, being in a homeless place, nothing is secure, nothing is certain, and then you have to be on medications, but then you can't even keep up with your meds, or somebody steals your stuff, or they do a sweep and then they just throw everything away. A lot of times those with mental illness that are out there are trying to help themselves, but they don't have the stability. So when you go off your meds, I don't know if you've ever been on meds and then you get off your meds, your mental state sways even more so when you're dealing with your own mental illness. So me being on, oh my gosh, I was on lithium, I was on Prozac, I was on Klonopin, I was on a whole lot of meds. Today, I'm not on any meds. I just said, man, look, I need people in my life that can deal with me and what I go through without being on these meds, and that's personal for me. Okay, because I don't encourage anyone that's on medication to stop it. But what I did was that I took everything that I learned being in mental institutions and all the the classes and the sessions and the therapies, and I took that and I worked it within my everyday life, my everyday living, knowing that I'm not worthless, even though I might wake up sometimes and feel it, but I know I'm not. And I just got to get up and do the next right thing. I try to stay positive, but trying to bring what worked for me or the things that helped me, I try to bring that awareness to the people that can make the changes for those that suffer from mental wellness issues. You know, um, I advocate for those people, man. Hey, if you can give my home, but they don't want to hear me when I say, well, can we just offer safe places? Some people are not ready for the responsibilities of a house, for an apartment. If they're on disability, you know, most of that disability money is going to go towards the bills, towards the apartment, towards all of that. But what do they have for them, right? It's not easy. It's not like you get a whole lot of money on disability to try to support yourself. So some people that have mental wellness issues, it's easier for them to find a safe spot where they can squat. If they can, hustle and get them a tent, get them into a tent city. A lot of people think those are a big nuisance, but there are some very high functioning encampments. Although the big push, and don't get me wrong, the big push is to end homelessness for every person to have a roof over their head, a safe place. Um, but as you already know, we don't have enough housings for the amount of people we have on this planet anyway. And that's something that needs to happen in order for there to be no more homelessness. It has to have affordable housing. If you work a minimum wage job, but you work 40 hours a week, even if it's part time, we need to have something there for people to be able to rent, you know, and even support systems for those that are out there that are on drugs. A lot of people look at homeless as, oh, they're just drug addicts and this, that, and the other. I'm like, man, no. When you talk about stories, I sat down. I would go to the clinic downtown in downtown Houston, Healthcare for the Homeless Clinic. Um, but we always had a couple of people that's where their residence was right under the overpass. And one day I was going to the clinic, but I stopped to see my friend. He was a very neat homeless person. He had his bed, he had his cart. The city ordinance say, hey, you can't be sleeping on the couch. I mean, on the concrete at 6 o'clock in the morning. So he make up his bed, he put everything up, he sweep his area and all that. But one day I came over there and I noticed an older lady, very nice. She looked out of place. She really looked out of place. And so I sat down on the curb and I said, hey, do you mind if I sit down here and chit chat with you? I said, my name's Deidre. You know, um, I'm going right here to the clinic. Have you been there? Have you had any services? This, that, and the other. I always ask that question because then I always want to bring them to the clinic to try to get services started for them. But she told me that she was living on the streets here in Houston, but she was from up north, and that she was actually a therapist. And I think her mental wellness issues got to her, and some people call it she snapped. She was a successful therapist living up north, and something happened, and she ended up becoming homeless. And she ended up down here in Houston, Texas, living on the streets.
Hmm.
And I wanted so much for her to get services because that she was not the type that you could see living on the streets. She didn't belong there. Her mannerisms wasn't there. Even the way she dressed, the way, everything. It was not a safe place for her, you know. And luckily I have not seen her, and this was before the pandemic, but I think that they got her the services that she needed, and she was able to get the help and get off the streets. Um, but man, when you talk about stories, there's so many. There's so many amazing people that were formerly homeless that I have the privilege of working with on our board with the National Healthcare for the Homeless Council and with our NCAB. Um, and we're across this nation. We're all advocates. We're the voice of the homeless. We're the ones that try to create solutions or try to guide the professionals in solutions to better everything. So I know I rattled.
No,
I'm
no, you
sorry,
good. I'm
Heather.
listening. Cause I mean, me personally, like I wish there was a way.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. I wish there was a way they can end homeless, but I just don't. I don't see it happening in my lifetime. I don't. Do you see that?
No, I think that one of the I think that the biggest thing is that there's some people here that want to see the people down here disappear in a sense. I don't know if I said that right. The situation to disappear. But understanding that every person that is on the street doesn't want to be housed. They don't want to be housed. When you've gone through some people have traumatic experiences just by being housed. You know, after they consider you chronically homeless after you've been on the streets for 3 to 5 years straight, then that becomes you're chronically homeless, which means you have learned to adapt to a lifestyle of living without a home. And you do it, and you do it very well, and you take care of yourself. I know people that are living on the streets that, hey man, nah, I got everything that I need right here. You know, one of the things that I do, I know you know about my glamping camping. I love being outdoors. Um, and I started that because every year for my birthday, I would always do a camping event. And people, my family, my friends, they would start coming and really started enjoying it. And I was like, I would always throw in there just this little thing, man, this is great, girl. You got everything you need. We got a kitchen, we got a bathroom, you know, you got me flushable toilets. I even got a sink. You know what I'm saying? I have everything you need to survive outdoors. But it's my glamping camping, right? And I told them, I said, you guys, you came out here, you have a really great time. I said, this is basically what homeless people go through. This is how they live. It can be done. It can be successful. It can be comfortable. You know what I'm saying? I say, but then think about this. What if your mayor or, the city decides to say, you know what, we just gonna come and take all this away because it bothers me to see you living like this, right? I think that to solve the homeless problem, like I said earlier, is creating safe spaces. I can understand if you don't want to live in a house, if you don't want to live in an apartment, if you don't want to be confined between four walls, but at least offer a safe place to where it's like, yeah, the women aren't being raped, the men aren't being raped, they're not getting beat up. They, like I said, they have this misconception that all homeless people are drug addicts, and that's just not the case. Just people that are trying to live a moment at a time with what they have.
Well, you
So
answered my question.
I
I was
did.
gonna ask about the dangers of being homeless, and you mentioned the rapes and Yeah, that just so unfortunate. I hate to even hear that. Jeez. So I was gonna ask this.
The rapes, the murders.
Yeah.
I mean, I tell you, okay.
Oh, my bad. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I wanted to say that when when we talk about the dangers of being homeless, that they are targeted. Some homeless people are actually targeted. They just had this dude. He was living behind a store. Now this happened a few months back. He was living behind a store. The store owner knew he was there, all this stuff. But then some guy, random guy on the street, just came and shot him and killed him right there just for being homeless. So
Wow.
yeah, that really got me a little bit. I didn't know him personally, but there are lots of dangers to being homeless. It's not just because the homeless person is attacking another homeless person. It's the people that are housed that they decide they just want to go and do something senseless by taking another life because they don't live the way you do, and that's not right.
No, it's not.
I believe in acceptance is the key.
Right. So, do you, with gentrification being a huge thing, do you think gentrification is making homelessness a real huge thing, like worse than before?
I will say, well, what do you mean with the gentrification?
Because with gentrification,
How about making it?
well, with that they tear down places, they misplace people, and they build Starbucks and different facilities that people can't even afford to go to.
Right. Living in Houston, I can say that, yeah, um, I know it's different across this nation. Sometimes when you're trying to bring up a community, because I was just driving actually the other day, because I got lost
Oh Lord.
trying to find this place, and I was just like, God, I haven't been over here in a while. But I see where you have these homes that are about 30, 40 years old, and then you see these brand new housing. Um, you've got like five townhomes in this one lot, and they don't even have a front yard, backyard. All they have is a driveway. You know, but they bought out some people's lots, and they've created these high-rise, beautiful apartments, trying to bring up the property value. But those individuals that are in these other homes, um, and they always get taken advantage of. I've never seen one thing that was worth losing what you actually had. They weren't paying enough to me, but um, it does disturb the community. It does disturb the you know people's way of life, um, because a lot of times with that situation, a lot of people are forced out. Or hey, I'm going to give you this amount, and because I know you don't have the money to fix up your house, and your house is falling apart, right? And instead of supporting them and trying to get them their needs met to be in a safe place, they would rather take that from you. And then, yeah. So, do I think that's a positive thing? I think that it does have an effect on the population that I support.
All right. Okay. So yeah, yeah, it's a thing. I mean, it's going on all over the country. It's even happening here in this town I'm in right now. Like they raising the price up, pricing people out. People got to move out to the suburbs and other areas and even travel longer to go to work and it's just I don't. It's like what is the end goal of that? You know what I mean? Like I don't even understand it.
The richer get richer and the poorer
Well,
get
yeah,
poorer.
that's true. As cliche that is, that's very true. I hate to even admit that, but it's true. So, D, what is your
Right.
what is your future goal? Like, what are you trying to accomplish with this? With your movement, I
You
mean.
know, with my movement, I would like to, like I say, be a blessing to at least one person. If I could share my story, share my life experience, share my experience, strength, and hope, um, I would be good. I really would. I do my best. I say all the time. I tell Brent, I'm doing my best. Even though
Yeah.
sometimes I feel like my best ain't good enough, but I'm doing my best. And I believe in unconditional love. I believe in loving people with a godly love. And if I can spread some type of unconditional love to you and you see that, and then you decide that you want to share that experience that you had with me with someone else, just being a blessing. Just being a blessing, you know. Even so we went camping last weekend with a friend of mine, but in January, my uncle passed
My
away.
condolences.
Um, New Year's Eve. Thank you. And but he also passed away on my stepfather's anniversary of his passing. So me and Brenda went to the beach and we posted up on the beach for a week. And there was this homeless guy. Um, I wasn't sure what I was seeing because I had eye surgery a couple years ago, so I don't see all that clearly. But I saw a person crawling out of the sand dunes, and I was like, "What is he doing?" But once I got, close look, of course, I went and introduced myself, and I was like, "Oh, well, no, actually, I didn't." A church family came over asking me about this guy, and I said I hadn't seen him. But then they were telling me that he was homeless and this, that, and the other. I was like, oh my gosh. So I, of course, went and introduced myself when I did see him and let him know that, hey, your church family was looking for you. That's when I found out that he had both his legs amputated and one of his hands amputated from a childhood illness. And he had been living on the beach since October of last year. And so I was like, okay. I said, look, is there anything I can do for you? He goes, no, I'm fine. I'm fine. I was like, okay. Well, I walked away and then I didn't feel good about that. And I talked to Brenda about it. And I was like, I don't feel like I did my best. So I went back to him and I said, look, can I be your guardian angel? I'm going to be here for a couple of days. And, we're drinking coffee and having breakfast and stuff like that. Maybe we can sit down and chit chat or whatever. Um, but when I asked him if I could be his guardian angel, he agreed. And I had an opportunity to talk to him, had an opportunity to check out his tent, and I was like, "Hey, I'm glamping camping, baby. Look like you missing a few things. I could possibly, you know, hook you up to make you a little bit more comfortable because during it was January, it was still very cold here, you know. And I knew it was hard for him to clean up his behind himself with just having one hand. And so I cleaned up his tent. I kind of, repositioned it and secured it back down to the beach, to the sand, and gave him a cleaned up the water that had soaked up all his clothes in there, and I put a blanket. I took him to Walmart. And maybe because it's like he had food stamps. I think, yeah, he had food stamps, so he had some cash too, but he couldn't get to the store because we were on the peninsula, and the closest store, Walmart, was on Galveston Island. So my, I can say for that one, I saw a positive outcome because now, I was able to reach the individual that was working with him at the church, give them some resources that they could, you know, um, connect with to serve him because their main goal is to get him off the beach. It's not healthy for him. Um, and I saw him last weekend and he kind of, I don't think he remembered me, but I say, you know what, D, you just needed to be that angel for him at that time. And just by reaching out to the church, like I said, helping them try to help him, it's been a blessing. Hopefully, in the next month or so, he should be housed, but he had mental wellness issues. And that's something that you have to deal with. And I say, when the guy at the church was asking me, well, how do you do with this? And I say, you know what? You accept them for where they are. You give them an opportunity and then you wait.
Wow.
And when they're ready, they'll come back to you and say, I'm ready. It's never overnight.
Wow. That is
So,
beautiful though. That's an incredible
but that
story.
was a blessing. Yeah, it was good to see him. It was good. I was happy about that because I still get updates from the church when they finally got him seen at the hospital. They're gonna try to get him some prosthetics. So where because he wants to work, he wants to do these things. He's just you know all he has is a hand.
Wow. That's amazing.
So Yeah.
that's a true testimony of your character for real. Like that's really incredible. I keep repeating myself, but that is great. Like that really makes me smile because I think I saw you. I think you had a post about that, if I believe. Did you make a post about that? Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah,
did.
yeah.
He took a picture with
Yeah,
me.
I saw
It's,
that.
yeah, it's on my Facebook
Yeah, I saw
page.
that. That was incredible. Like I thought that was so amazing for real. That was. I think I hearted it or carried it. I don't. I did something with that post, but yeah, I loved it. It was great.
Yeah.
But it's really been really good to talk to you and to connect with you. And please give everybody your social media uh name and information. They can follow you if they want to donate or they want to come and help. Where do they go?
Well, my Facebook page is Deidre Young, or H Town Butter. That's Butta, because butter makes it better. Um, I am Deidre Young on Reverb Nation. Also H Town Butter. Butterflies Media Creations is my company. I do photography, videography. So my website is Butterflies Media Creations. No, right. Yes, Butterflies Media Creations. Um, and I am a part of nhchc.org, which is the National Healthcare for the Homeless Council. That website, I'm the chair of NCAP. So if you go to the website, nhchc.org, and then go to the consumer engagement, you can find out my information, find out the steering committee that I'm on, and find out so much more information and resources for individuals that are trying to end homelessness or need support in trying to support their communities. So
Wow,
that's it,
that
cousin.
that's amazing. Well, thank you, and we need to do this again. At least I think I feel that way. It was really fun for me,
I
and
agree.
we definitely need to link
I
up in person
agree.
again one day in the future for sure. Everything's so expensive right now. Oh, jeez.
You know I drive across the country,
Oh, I
so
know.
I ain't got no problem getting in the car driving up to
Oh, I
Colorado.
know. I know. I know.
I definitely come here, and Brenda. You know we road warriors. We just came back from Kentucky, so
Okay. Yeah. That's yeah. Okay.
yeah, I'm like, oh yeah, that's a little bit
Oh,
farther,
and before I let you go,
but
do you
definitely.
have any upcoming events that you're speaking at?
I will be in Maryland May, early part of May, for our Healthcare for the Homeless
Okay.
conference. I can definitely say go to the website, and we have all of our conference information there. So if you're up in Maryland, if you're up north, by all means, stop by and say hi. Get involved. Um, the one thing I do want to say is just be the best you can be. That's it.
Amen to that.
That's my motto. I try to be the best best me I can be,
Absolutely.
and enjoy life one moment at a time, because that's all we got.
Proud.
Love unconditionally. I'm peace, love, and hair grease, baby.
Yes, Lord.
I would have been a flower child if I was born in the 60s. I would have been a flower
Oh
child.
yeah, I could definitely see that in you for sure. Absolutely.
Yes,
Well, D
sir.
is so good to hear.
Because I think we can all get along.
Oh, my bad. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I said I think we could all get along.
Like Rodney King.
Just love each other with a godly love. There you go.
Yeah. Well, D is so good to hear from you, and I hope you have an incredible Friday and continue to keep doing the work and just keep smiling. It's real radiant. I feel the radiance through through the screen.
I like to say, keep doing you, cousin. I'm very proud of you. And I know that your mom and dad would be very proud of you, and Jay Ivy and Frankie. Y'all are amazing. And what you're doing here is fantastic. And I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to share a little bit about me.
Absolutely, and I Appreciate you as well. Definitely. And
And I love you.
I love you too.
A lot.
And I appreciate you for even coming on here and doing this with me for real. Like I had a blast, and you know what I mean. Like the fact that you out here helping people is like, why not? You know what I mean? Like why not spread the message?
Right.
We need more
One
positivity.
love.
Exactly, one love. We need more positivity. It's a lot of negativity out there in the world, and we know it exists. Why focus on that? Why let's focus on what we can do to make some changes. And I'm not perfect at all. By all means, I'm not. But I'm just saying, I do try to do my part for sure. Absolutely,
Yeah. Like I say, be the best you can be, whatever that is, at whatever moment. Just be the best you. Do the next right thing.
absolutely.
So I think you are, and I would love to come back if you would
Of
want me.
course, absolutely.
And I keep you posted. Next time we need to get in the studio and work on a track together. That's what we need to
I
do.
agree. We do. Some people, a few people said the same thing, but yes, you and I is long overdue. Okay, we got to do that for sure. Seriously, we do. Absolutely. Well,
All right.
Miss Deidre Young, you please have a fantastic Friday and tell Brenda I said hello once again and have a good night. And yeah, we'll hear from you soon.
Love you,
Love you
cousin.
too.
Keep doing
I
you.
will. Peace.
Thank you again.
Absolutely. You're welcome.